let's look at some of the hottest NFT news in the markets in the last few days. Let's dive into it. All right. Okay. So one of the big news that I wanted to look at, the first one at least, is actually a blast from at least my past, which is Sesame Street, should I say. And they're actually working with VV Collections. Now, VV Collections, basically, they license IPs and create these collectibles. Now, I guess what's interesting for me is, one, obviously, it brings me back to my childhood. Now, Sesame Street is still a massive brand and targeting, of course, to children and children's education. So I think that's quite an interesting point and why I wanted to mention it today. So the next one, which is a little bit more for the adults, is so here on an article from NFTnow.com, they basically said that Lamborghini's 7-month NFT campaign to conclude with special drop. So obviously here we go, we have, and they call this drop from Lamborghini, it's called the Epic Road Trip NFT campaign. So look, I think for me, this what's important here to kind of like highlight is, again, how big brands or cars specifically have really taken on board the whole kind of NFT Web3 kind of adoption, which I think is important. And of course, Lamborghini being like a sports car, being cool. And of course, it's very much integrated into the, say, cryptoverse and crypto lingo, say when Lambo. So it's important. I think it's keeping them relevant, and I think that's quite interesting for them, at least as a brand, to stay on board with the whole Web3 NFT space. So now, not as obviously sporty, one could say. Of course, they do have their cars, is Nissan. So it says here the news on NFTlately.com. Of course, links will be in the description below, as always. Nissan steers into Metaverse and NFT advertising. So it says here actually in the first line, which is quite interesting. So following Lamborghini, Rolls-Royce, and Porsche, Nissan is actually seeing the importance of the metaverse and NFT advertising. So again, without getting again into all the details of that particular drop, just highlighting again that even in the last few days, another car brand like Nissan has actually said, yep, we're going into Web3, and yes, we're going to do some NFTs. So again, really interesting. Now, how that kind of manifests and whether or not it's successful, to me personally, is not as important, at least trying. So I think that's really the key for me. Anyway, let's see how that goes. We'll be following this, and of course, do follow us if you haven't already. Do like this video and do hit that subscribe button so you get more of these kinds of content, and do keep up to date. Anyway, let's keep moving on. So the last one that I wanted to go through is, again from NFTnow.com, is Getty unveils first NFT drop, featuring Stevie Nicks, David Bowie, and of course more. All right. So the alpha on this, basically, as it says here, is starting on March 21, so still coming up. Getty Images will release the 70s Music and Culture Collection, a compilation of images of musicians and cultural icons, including Jimi Hendrix, Elvis, David Bowie, Stevie Nicks, the Rolling Stones, and several more. So to release their first ever NFT drop, Getty partnered with Candy Digital, a digital collectibles platform and marketplace that has previously helped Major League Baseball, Netflix, the WWE, and more enter the Web3. So look, again, I think what's really interesting here is Getty being such a famous worldwide brand for photos, really capturing all those moments. And I can just imagine the amount of content they have and things that maybe the public has actually never seen before. And now they're really seeing the importance of basically bringing all of that content into the NFT space. And I do believe now, look, of course, we know that NFTs, there are so many different genres, as we know with the Bored Apes, CryptoPunks, the whole PFP thing, maybe the more one-to-one digital artworks. But now here we have is existing content that's been created, but then bringing it into the Web3 space. Now, of course, again, how do they do that? What's the feel and the look of those actual NFT collectibles? But nonetheless, they have entered this space. And I think that's going to, again, change the game slightly in the sense of other maybe, let's say, companies that have these kinds of content really go, okay, let's kind of do the same thing. And this really brings some legitimate, credible projects onto the market. And not necessarily, again, new created PFP collections, but things that maybe other fans and other Web.2, Web.1, and even pre-internet people would actually really want to buy, meaning it actually opens up the market and could potentially onboard new users into this whole NFT world, which to me is a thumbs up indeed. Do follow us on BIGONES.NFT. Check out all our other social media links. We have Twitter, Telegram, and of course Facebook and Instagram. Now, again, all the links up there will be in the description below. Hit that like button, click subscribe, and do turn on the notification to follow us and get more up-to-date news on the NFT market. I'm Gabriel, your host. BIGONES.NFT, over and out.